Hi guys, welcome to Snakes and Adders. This is a video really to address the debacle that was the Channel 4 show on exotic pets the other day. It's just more of the same tripe that comes out, same as Ross King's Tiger Kings UK, with the illustrious Gary Smith representing the entirety of British herpetoculture. And once again, they've done a number on us. Wasn't balanced, completely biased, just a ridiculous program really. We were set out to fail from the very minute the program started. Hi, I'm so and so, I'm an environmental activist. Alright, that's going to go well then, isn't it? So, set out your stall immediately. I think probably what I'm more disappointed about is the involvement of Fabian Rivers, Dreddy Vet. You would like to think that vets hold themselves to a certain professional standard and wouldn't be involved in mudslinging and things that could incite some sort of public furore or panic. That's not what you would expect, certainly of someone with that level of education. It's just not really what's expected or anticipated, and there is a palpable sense of disappointment that all of us get tarred with the same brush. Are all dog owners puppy farmers? Are all cat owners willfully setting their cats outside to destroy the local ecology? And that kind of goes further to the point of there are different companion animal sectors, and there are sectors that would be considered satellite and therefore potentially the low-hanging fruit. They're easier to take on because the publicity machine and what would protect them is far more advanced for the larger pet keeping sectors. So, reptiles have always struggled with public perception. This is through an ingrained, almost hereditary phobia, misunderstanding, and just a general social distrust of reptiles, which sells them so short because the people that work with them understand just how wonderful, intelligent, and affectionate these animals can be. They're fantastic. We have a responsibility to keep them correctly and be advancement centric and always try and work to make sure our welfare is improving as technology and knowledge allows. We are a relatively new hobby, but compared to others, whilst reptiles have been maintained in captivity for hundreds of years as a mainstream undertaking, its real growth's only happened over the last 50 years. So we're learning in real time, and we can't, state that mistakes weren't made early on or that we didn't do things that were questionable, the importation of certain species causing problems. But we're not the hobby that we once were, and it is really underhand to try and use tropes such as the lie that this program perpetuated. Once again, 75% of all reptiles die in the first year. Bollocks. Total bollocks. According to the Federation of British Herpetologists and the PFMA, which are the gold standard for working out these sorts of things, and they teamed up with the FBH to be able to assess the captive population of reptiles in the UK. That figure came in at 8.8 million reptiles. Now, if there was a replenishment rate required of 75%, that means that we would need 6.6 million reptiles per annum just to hold the figure at 8.8 million captive reptiles or companion reptiles. So we know that they go for far more than this, but even just if every reptile, if that 6.6 million was worth £50, that's £330 million per annum generated just from the replenishment. We have nothing that supports those figures. And bearing in mind, even the program showed some animals go for multiple hundreds, even thousands. So I want to know where my Ferrari or Lamborghini is, because that's what I should be driving if that was the replenishment rate of reptiles. The truth is, it simply isn't. It's been debunked. Responsible Reptile Keeping have produced a fantastic video debunking it. and they are the promotional wing of this hobby now. Definitely part of the zeitgeist within British reptile keeping, and are doing a fantastic job of putting our side across with salient facts and just picking apart these lies. The fact that this program's gone out and used the 75% dye thing isn't overly surprising. I mean, they're going to do it. This sells copy. You know, there is something salacious about reptiles, and that inherent phobia, distrust, fear of reptiles, of the layperson who doesn't quite understand them, that's just really going to play well to them. And I can understand why the producers would choose to do it, because they want to make their program successful. The problem is they're selling a lie. Where I have a problem is somebody who is an exotics vet, highly educated, lots of accolades, Junior Vet of the Year 2020. You expect them to just do some maybe fact checking and make sure that you're not involved in mudslinging and bullshit. That's sort of like the minimum standard you would expect. You know, if that's the level of due diligence, then I'll be amazed if any reptile keeper ever brings you a reptile to be seen ever again. Because that wasn't even handed. It was total bias. It was ridiculous. It's a real shame that we keep getting put in this position. I do have to say, without put on social media, we do have to be careful about what goes on there. And this does go to us, you know, this is where our failings are. There are no filters, there are no editors, there's no quality controllers about the things that we choose to put on social media. And the optics of some of the things that we share are less than ideal. And realistically, people are going to have to commit far more time to being sensible about the stuff that they put out there. They could only find the footage that they found because that footage existed in the first place. And somebody, as misguided as they are, I'm sure they love their reptiles, put it out there for all to see, and here we are. It's a real shame, and we need to be responsible. Reptile keepers, we need to make sure that we put our best foot forward and be mindful that everything's forever on social media. Own it, by all means own it, you know, but you can really do damage without realizing, without thinking about how does this look. And that's something really that we need to commit to try and do better. There is a change coming in the way that the political side of the hobby is going to be protected. There is going to be some restructuring to REPTA, which is the Reptile and Exotic Pet Trade Association. And moving forward, you'll find that we become a lot more vociferous in trying to defend the hobby. And we will work hand in hand with responsible reptile keeping to ensure that we promote positives, welfare-centric, advancement-centric policy decisions to try and bolster our position as a good hobby, a good undertaking with animals that ring fences welfare and make sure that they're looked after properly. None of us involved in these movements is interested in perpetuating anything that would be deemed problematic welfare or husbandry. Because the dogs and cats and their market is so huge, you will not find that these people will go after the entirety of that pet sector with the veracity that they do about reptiles. You won't pillory all dog owners. You'll pick on a single breed. You'll make an example of XL Bullies, the flavour of the month. There are no programmes about the 20-some million birds killed per year, along with all the other small vertebrate animals that domestic cats predate and ruin the local ecology, because cat mums had gone mad. There's a £3 billion industry backing them up. They'd kick off and go mental. They wouldn't have it. And there's no way that it would be sanctioned or the producers would go for it, because it isn't salacious enough. and they know that there would be real backlash from it. So they pick the satellites, they pick exotic mammals, they pick birds, they pick reptiles, and they go after us, and they go after us, blood, guts and all. And we have to be able to protect ourselves, we have to be able to put our best foot forward, but we also have to hold people to account when we believe that professionally they should have shown more in the way of standards, due diligence, and the reviewing of the output that they're putting out there. Because if you want to be viewed as a peer, and you want to be viewed as someone who could collaborate, which was something that was suggested, we have to at least believe that you mean it, and nothing in this programme made us believe that you mean that you want to collaborate with us. You gave us a kicking, an unfair kicking. You didn't give us a right to reply, not a proper one, where it wouldn't have been edited as it was. One sole female reptile keeper trying her best to try and explain the best way put forward, a pitiful amount of time. Further to the show, I'll state categorically, I'm not the world's biggest fan of the show, but we have two highly decorated vets at the IHS show, checking and maintaining welfare. That's a statement of fact. They're there to make sure that no unhealthy animals are offered for sale. But this is a breeders' meeting where stock is exchanged, and they arrive in travel containers. Personally, would I like to see larger containers, water and heat available to the animals? Absolutely. But that's my personal preference. That's down to the International Herpetological Society to decide that those are the standards that they want to mandate for the show. It's not for me to insist upon. But I have my personal views. I think that whilst ever we put silly shit on social media, programs like this have got the oxygen to be able to make these programs, because they can cherry pick the stupid crap that people put on when they're being idiots, and the program's ready made for them, and we've kind of got no one to blame but ourselves. So really we need to be a bit more sensible about output and make sure that what we're putting out there has the correct optics, shows the animals in the best light, and shows that we are responsible reptile keepers. Cheers, guys.